A push to protect Texas pets is now heading to the governor's desk. State lawmakers overwhelmingly supported a proposal that advocates say will help families seek justice in cases where dogs or cats are harmed or killed due to negligence. Last night, we reported about how some families would like to see even more protections and regulation when it comes to the pet services industry. This afternoon, KXAN's Avery Travis is joining us here now for a closer look at all of this. Avery, welcome and thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, Will.
So let's talk about some of the cases that prompted your story and the legislation that is involved with this.
Right. For years, KXAN investigators have received tips about dogs dying while in the care of doggy daycare, boarding, or training, grooming facilities. But when we look into those cases, there often isn't necessarily a lawsuit filed or even records with law enforcement agencies aside from those initial reports. And it makes it really difficult for us, even as reporters, to adequately, convey these situations and understand what's going on. But family after family, like the couple you're seeing here that was featured in our story, told us they felt like there weren't those records because there wasn't much recourse for them when something like this happened. So the lawmaker who filed this bill says she hopes that this change will give pet parents a path to at least try to seek accountability in cases where someone did act negligently.
Okay, so we mentioned that there is a bill. It's headed to the governor's desk. We're awaiting his signature on this potentially. What would that actually do?
It's important to understand that previously under Texas law, prosecutors would have to prove that someone acted intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly to harm an animal, and that's in the state's animal cruelty law. But what this bill does is it adds criminal negligence as a state of mind for which someone can be prosecuted. And when we talk about that criminal negligence, that just means someone failed to use reasonable care, and that failure resulted in harm to that dog or cat. So advocates say this opens up another avenue in a different kind of situation for families to seek justice. The bill became known as Poncho's Law. That was after Maria and Paul Mecca's dog, Poncho, who died while at a Dallas pet service business back in 2021. And that couple has been working for 4 years to get this change to the penal code passed. We'll note it nearly made it last session, but really the clock just ran out. And this session, it made it. It saw overwhelming support, 125 votes in favor in the House and unanimous support in the Senate. It's now waiting on the governor's desk.
Rare to see a legislation like that get full support in the Senate without any kind of bipartisan disagreement there. But what about any pushback to this? Was there much that showed up during the debate?
Like you said, there was bipartisan support. Claudia Ordaz authored the bill, but it saw several other lawmakers sponsor and say they support it. We will note, though, the bill contains an exception for veterinarians or for people who are assisting a veterinarian in that medical process. And quite a few people submitted public comments frustrated with that portion, that exception. They were asking lawmakers to consider holding doctors and medical professionals to the same standards under this law. We'll note a lawyer with the Texas Humane Legislation Network testified and told lawmakers they believe, with their legal expertise, that the bill still allows for prosecution of vets, especially in cases where that intentional or that knowing harm of an animal has occurred. We also want to tell our audience, in our reporting for this story, and you can read more about this in our full investigation online, we reached out to more than 20 pet service owners or operators because we wanted to understand how are they feeling about this potential change if the governor signs it. The responses were mixed. There were some concerns expressed about how this could impact them, their liability, but several of the businesses and the business owners that we talked to said after reading it, they support the law and they welcome more regulation in their industry.
Interesting. So, okay, this current legislative session ends on Monday, but you actually talked to some advocates who are already looking ahead to the next legislative session in 2027. What are they advocating for? It seems like they might even want more regulation. What's the latest with that?
Something we really heard throughout our reporting, whether it was from families, advocates, but also those conversations we had from people in the industry, was that there really isn't much standard or consistent rules, standard of care in this industry. We introduced folks to Caitlin Rohde, who you're seeing here. She started her own nonprofit after losing her dog, Roland, and this is, of course, a serious topic, pets passing away or being harmed, but she jokes that the stylist who dyes her hair has more requirements and rules to operate than some folks in the industry. And you know, her nonprofit did this survey that I think was very telling. They talked to hundreds of pet owners, and it found 96% of people who responded to that survey say they would support or strongly support more consistent standards for the industry. One of her biggest missions, though, we'll note, of that nonprofit is really just to educate pet owners and families. They want people just to feel empowered to have the right questions to ask when you're looking for a trainer or a doggy daycare facility for your family's little furry friend. She has these guides. I meant to bring them here in the studio, but they're actually sitting at my desk right now. They're these really colorful guides with photos of her. She calls him her silly goose, Roland. And they're things like, you know, Roland's silly goose guide to picking a trainer, or Roland's guide to selecting the right doggy daycare for your silly goose. And they're really tailored so that families can filter through the questions and say, hey, you know, my dog might have anxiety, and so this is the right place for him. Or my dog loves people, and so he might land better in this type of facility. Just to help those pet parents make the decision that's right for them. Those are actually available for download for free on her nonprofit's website, and we've got a link straight to those on our website, kxan.com.
All right, we'll direct people there if they want to check it out. But for now, Avery Travis, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Will.
Always appreciate it.